Change is constant. It's messy, it's fast, and it never waits. But what if you could turn complexity into clarity? Disruption into direction? What if transformation wasn't a reaction, but a capability? That's where application lifecycle management comes in. With the right tools, with the right mindset, and the power of connection. Learn, share, transform, together. Welcome to Darmstadt. Welcome to the SAP ALM Summit EMEA 2025.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tonja Kehrer.
And my name is Ben Schneider.
And we are your hosts for this event.
And we are really happy to see so many of you joining us here in Darmstadt in this beautiful new location.
Before we get started, we would like to share some important information with you.
So, first of all, what can you expect over the next days? Of course, keynotes. We start each day with a keynote. Today, we focus on ALM strategy. Tomorrow, we're looking at cloud ALM functionality and methodology. And I am personally very looking forward to Thursday, where we hear from our customers.
This year, we have 70 expert sessions covering everything you need to know about application lifecycle management.
Of course, you can actively engage in interactive influencing sessions and hands-on sessions.
We have demo booths dedicated to the integrated tool chain and various ALM capabilities. Be sure to check them out. And also partner booth, where you can connect and get personalized guidance.
We have ALM clinics, where you can ask experts from SAP support, for example, to get help with your SAP readiness check for SAP Cloud ALM. All other questions you can bring also to the expert panels today on Thursday, where you can ask your questions as well to the experts on stage.
You can take a test to earn a solution transformation consultant badge.
And also, of course, you can take usability sessions, but unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, these are already fully booked, so we're really happy to have this offering and to see that there's so much interest in this offering as well.
Last but not least, we have Amathon. This is where partners showcase their latest innovations, and you get to choose the winner of eternal fame and ALM glory.
But don't worry, we also have planned for plenty of time to connect and to celebrate in the evenings today and tomorrow.
Detailed information on all of these offerings, for example, how to register for the Solution Transformation Consultant Test or the hands-on sessions, you can find in the event app. This is your guide for the next days. Now, you can access this app via QR code that you have on the back of your badge that everyone has with them.
And of course, we'd love if you post on social media about the event. Please use the hashtag ALM Summit. Of course, an event like this would not be possible without our sponsors and without the big support of the sponsors. So please have a big round of applause for our gold sponsors, Basis Technologies, Cross ALM, Galileo Group, RefTrack, and S&P Group. Thank you very much for sponsoring this event.
Now that more people are coming in, the spirit of groundbreaking innovation is elementary to the city of Darmstadt. It was here in 1883 that the third power plant in the entire world was built. Back then, the idea of electricity in one's own home found some people skeptic or even afraid, and it posed new challenges to design and architects. Sounds familiar? So the buildings of Mathildenhöhe were frontrunners and stand as testimonials for this era of radical experimentation. This is an example from 1901 with light bulbs as a new technology integrated by design and architecture. Imagine how far we've come since then, from telephones to electric cars. So Darmstadt is a city of innovation and the courage to step into the unknown. In the spirit of the city, let's stay curious, for new technology and ALM.
So, our first speaker of ALM Summit 2025 witnessed the launch and rise of SAP Cloud ALM from the very beginning. As an industry analyst for more than 30 years, he immediately realized the potential of the solution for ALM and beyond. He's here today to talk about the importance of SAP Cloud ALM from an analyst point of view. Please welcome on stage our first speaker of the day, Josh Greenbaum.
Great, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, it's been a long, fun time. I think I first ran into the team working on Cloud ALM in 2018. And boy, we've come a long way. So I'm supposed to, I think, only have a few minutes here because we have a lot to talk about. So I want to get into very quickly why I'm here. And why I'm here is I want to tell you all a little bit about the context I see for the ALM tool set, for the tool chain, for the reasons we're here today. And in particular, I sort of want to challenge you to think of this. This isn't just the almost last conference of 2025 for the SAP ecosystem. This is, to me, the first conference of 2026. What we're going to talk about here today is going to be, we're going to talk about the ideas and the things and the tools and the technologies that's going to make 2026 a really, really remarkable year for the entire SAP ecosystem. And I'm going to tell you why. It's been an interesting year for me as an analyst following SAP, going to too many conferences I don't want to see. I was just at the inaugural SAP Connect conference 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas. And what I'm seeing is a real interesting tension in the market, tensions in the global economy. This is the Supply Chain Stress Index. I love this. It's the World Bank keeps this data. I borrowed this from some SAP colleagues. And what we've seen is really one hell of a last few years in terms of what's going on in the global economy, what's stressing supply chains. And I look at supply chains really as a proxy, as an example of what is happening in the global economy. Because whether you're in a manufacturing or distribution or not kind of industry, eventually there's a supply chain that impacts your business. So when we look at this, we're seeing this incredible tension going up. And I think we've missed a few things because there's been an election in my country that changed a lot as well. So a lot of people look at this, and you might want to look at this and say, "Oh my God, this is a mess. This is bad." And you're right. There's a lot of problems that come from this kind of tension. But I'm going to flip this on the other side and turn it over and say, actually, this is a real opportunity slide. Solving these problems, whether you're a partner, whether you're a distributor, wherever you are in the global economy, if you as a company can be part of solving these problems, this is heroism, if you will, in the economic world. These are the people who can be in the forefront of making these problems go away or making them better, improving our ability to manage chaos, manage the complexity that we now live in this world. The folks who can do that well are going to really thrive and really survive and really excel into the next 25 years. And so I'm seeing as an analyst a lot of appreciation for what SAP has to offer to solve these problems. And it's really, to me, been a really fascinating year looking at how the business suite has really come to its fore as the main offering of SAP, the suite as a service, as we heard at Sapphire. The idea that really SAP is literally one of the only vendors that has the ability to provide end-to-end process excellence across the entire, actually really across the global economy. SAP is one of the only, in fact, probably the only to really be able to touch and affect industries, companies in every single industrial sector. We can really look for SAP for excellence across 22 different industries. And even if you take those 22 industries and start looking further down, there are sub-industries or examples inside individual areas like industrial manufacturing where SAP is really touching specific requirements extremely well. So what I see is SAP customers and prospective new customers and partners are really looking to SAP to solve this. And there's been a lot of, I think, really good positive feedback from the ecosystem about how, again, how SAP is there to solve problems. Folks are interested, companies are interested in getting involved, implementing net new systems and upgrading, of course, their existing systems. And this is This is a very, very positive thing. The problem is that while we look at SAP, we look at the global economy, and we look at SAP as the company that can help us solve some of these problems. Historically, it hasn't been that easy to do this with SAP or frankly, any enterprise software technology. We're already out of sequence. There. No, there. Okay, good. So what this is, I want to show you why customers aren't moving to the cloud. One important reason, this is from a macroeconomic level. We know that the tension in the SAP world is that we have so much interesting technology and implants, so many ways in which we can solve the problems of the global economy, and yet customers are hesitating. Why are they hesitating? There's a lot of good reasons for it, a lot of maybe not such good reasons. We certainly see that if you look at the German SAP user group community, 51% of their members are still on older legacy systems. Over in the United States, the America's SAP user group, 44% of their customers are still hesitating to move. And the reason is, this, you can see at the macro level in this chart. This is a chart that sort of, this, as I call it, the disconnect between productivity and IT spending growth. This century, what we're really seeing here, that blue line is the growth in productivity. It's for the US economy, but frankly, it's the same line in the global economy. Productivity doesn't grow very fast, unfortunately. It's never as fast as economists would like, never as fast as any individual company would like. What's worse, if you will, and why we're here today, is that if you look at how much the growth in IT spending changes over the years, what you see is there's zero correlation. At the global level, a euro spent on technology does not necessarily give you a euro worth of growth. The disconnect is very, very powerful, and it's really seen, again, across, this isn't just an SAP problem, I want to make sure, this is across the enterprise software space. And what this really starts with is, historically, we've not been very, very good at implementing enterprise software. And we haven't been good at running enterprise software. We see this, across the board. There's literally the idea that, well, one of the recent surveys said 44% of implementations still fail to reach the expected achievements in functionality and meet their time scope as well. 44%. That's I think somewhat optimistic. What's more important is that number hasn't changed, again, this whole century. This is a century of the cloud, and yet the cloud, which was supposed to fix a lot of these problems, hasn't fixed it. So we've been stuck in this problem of we want to implement technology because we want productivity, and we've struggled to achieve it. And the reasons for this are well known and well documented, right? Implementations don't work well because we don't design them well. We don't scope them well. We have trouble with resource allocation. We have trouble finding experts who know how to implement the software, particularly for meeting business problems. We have problems with data migration, data management. Getting the data from historical data into a new system turns out to be one of the biggest headaches that's in the enterprise software space. It's a point of failure for way too many projects. Integration, just integrating different systems, being able to have not just a bunch of silos of operations, but an actual functioning enterprise that integrates well with itself. This has also been extremely difficult. Lack of business alignment, lack of IT management. So what we've got is really a problem with, with a whole bunch of systemic issues about how do we get the productivity we would like out of enterprise software and do it in a way that brings us the kind of value we expect. So what I like about this conference and this focus of SAP is that this is truly unique. This is truly what SAP is doing with the business transformation tool chain, with Cloud ALM, Signavio, Lean IX, and the other tools that are part of it. Is really something that is absolutely market leading. When I spoke, it was a couple of years ago, Mark Tier asked me to come speak at one of these conferences, and he said, by the way, as an analyst, would you just present the the competitive environment. Like, what's it like out there with our competitors? And the answer is there's nothing to talk about. No one has these tools. No one has this perspective on how do you design, manage, and change enterprise software. So what I like to think of is that really the reason we're here is we want to change this curve. We must start really converging these lines so that when you, as a customer, spend $1, €1 on your technology change, you're going to get the innovation you want. You're going to get the productivity you want. And there's two sides of this, right? We know, SAP has the applications that can do this. We know from a functional standpoint. Again, no one has a business network like SAP. No one has the kind of end-to-end process technology that SAP has. But also, SAP's done a really good job at the technology side as well. Again, as an analyst, I've watched this story be told more and more. SAP is going to integrate itself. SAP is going to be a company that provides this seamless process integration between all these different pieces. And it's finally really happening now. What SAP has done with BTP is phenomenal, not just in terms of the technology underpinnings, but the fact that now much of its new functionality is living inside BTP and not inside a core ERP project. Whether that's the industry-specific functionality you want, whether that's Ariba, which is now rewritten in BTP, the business network is written in BTP, and that allows you from a technology standpoint to build the kind of complex landscapes and heterogeneous landscapes that, frankly, customers need today. We would all love them to be in the cloud tomorrow. I think that's really, the ultimate goal. But in the end, that's not going to be possible tomorrow. So in the meantime, let's meet the customer where the customer wants to be today and help the customer get to where the customer needs tomorrow. That's a real big change for SAP. Suite first is not suite only in the SAP world anymore. And I think that's very, very important. So you've got this point in time where SAP has the very, very best enterprise software at the process level, at the application level, for industries, for complex manufacturing and service industries really across the global economy. SAP provides compliance as a service. SAP provides the kind of functionality that can really help companies fix these problems in the global economy that they're facing and become the heroes for the next wave in the next 25 years. And underlying it is the right technology. Again, functionally from BTP, functionally, importantly, from the tool chain, the products and technologies we're going to be talking about today. And so I'm going to end very quickly by saying that this is to me the best conference, the first conference of 2026, because this is really where we set the stage for how do we excel next year. What we're going to talk about here today is really as important, I believe, as any piece of enterprise software that SAP has in terms of its functional value. Because at the end of the day, what we're able to do with the products we're talking about here today is really change that equation, that productivity problem that has been behind the lack of productivity growth in the economy. I believe, honestly, that if we can apply what we're going to learn here into 2026, take that technology and those learnings and add them to the functional value that SAP provides, we can really do something very different than has ever been done in the enterprise software before, and industry before, and really make this coming year the year of SAP and the year of the SAP ecosystem. So there's only two ways to do this and to do this right. One is we have to really get customers excited about this. Customers need to understand the value of what we can provide. It's not just enough for the technology side. This is something that the business side has to understand. It's a more complex story to tell to a business stakeholder than it would be necessary to a technologist who lives and breathes this. But I think fundamentally all of us have one important job, which is to go out and sell this to the business side of our customer-based businesses side of our colleagues, and really help them understand why this is such an important change in how we look at enterprise software and how we look at implementing software. And finally, the other thing is I'm going to speak on behalf of the partners in the audience. We really need to keep growing this partner base. I think I'm very excited about how the partner ecosystem for SAP and for the business transformation tool chain has grown. I think without that active, strong partner base, this isn't going to succeed. In fact, it needs to grow farther. So we need to get the word out to customers. We need to grow the partner base. And together, I think we can really change the equation for enterprise software for the years to come. Thank you very much. I'll get off the stage now and bring on Søren.
Thank you, Josh.
Thanks.
So, good morning also from my side and a very warm welcome here in Darmstadt. Great to see the room now finally fully crowded. And I think you are definitely at the right spot here. We are looking at 3 days full of innovation, full of networking. We have a lot of expert sessions, and I'm sure it will be a great event for all of you. Let me quickly pick up what Josh mentioned about the different complexity drivers that we see in your transformations. And I think most of you, they are probably somehow in an innovator's dilemma. So on the one hand side, you are asked to innovate fast, to continuously innovate, but on the other side, your budgets are going to be cut down. I think we analyzed a lot like the different complexity drivers in the different projects. We see, just as Josh said, there's a lot of issues in migrations. They mainly stop already before they are actually starting because of the pure data quality that is out there. We see a lot of implementation challenges because you have a lot of legacy implementations in your system, so it's super hard to get the right specifications in. It's about custom code. How do you get closer to standard to actually really be able to innovate faster than overall? And then this just ends in a slow pace of adoption. Yeah? Also, test management is usually something that takes a really long time in such projects. So probably you have all seen some or one or the other of these complexity drivers in your projects. And to overcome this, also SAP has updated its strategy, and also Josh talked about that quickly. And I think we are seeing here 3 clear layers of how the strategy is looking like. At the bottom, we start with the SAP applications. We bundle them as a suite. I think this is also what SAP has been doing for the last 50 years. This is where we are coming from, where we have our strengths, that we deliver really business applications across the entire portfolio. Independent, if it's finance, if it's spend management, HR, CX, or in the supply chain. I think that's the broadest portfolio probably any provider has out there. And I think especially the more you use, the more benefits you will get out of it. So there's a certain flywheel effect in that certainly will help you to achieve your business goals and to get the needed innovations. And on top of the applications, we have just recently launched last year the Business Data Cloud, which is really harmonizing the data layer across the applications, no matter if it's SAP or if it's non-SAP. This is really helpful to gather all the data together. And the clear differentiator for me in this Business Data Cloud is definitely the data products that we are delivering. So it's not just raw data, we are also providing some semantical context with that data. And I think this is a fundamental difference to what we also see in other warehouse providers. And then on top, there's business AI. And I think you will all agree that AI can only be as good as the data that is below it. If you have pure data, you will have pure AI use cases. And I think this is where the difference is also with business AI on top of the Business Data Cloud, where we really have the semantical context in, where we have the data of thousands of different SAP customers using the software that will help us to train our models in the absolute best way. What also came clear is that, yes, we are driving at the moment a lot into the private cloud, but private cloud cannot be the end destination. It's a good intermediate step already helping you to realize some benefits, but the North Star is clearly in the public cloud. And it's totally also clear to me that this is a stretch for many of you here in the room. That's definitely a problem that we see as SAP, and where we as SAP have also realized that we somehow need to adapt how we work together with you as our customers. It's not the old on-premise days anymore, where SAP is selling you some software, then we are getting out of the door and we let the customers and the partner figure it out to do it right. No, in the cloud world, I think also we as SAP has realized that we need to help you to adopt. we are also responsible to helping you using the software in the right way. And if we look into the past, in the last couple of years, I think SAP did there also some clear moves that go into that direction. So we acquired Signavio in 2021, LeanIX in 2023, WalkMe in 2024. And looking at the investments we have done here as a company, I think that's also a clear statement and commitment that we are really serious about helping you in your transformations. But just looking at these acquisitions, that's definitely not the full story, and this is also not sufficient to bring you successfully into the cloud and to help you to innovate. Why? Because these solutions tell you a lot about what you need to do. They tell you where there's a potential value in, but they are not actually helping you to realize it. There's missing the execution. And this is actually where Cloud ALM is coming into play as really the transformation execution platform. Cloud ALM is the solution that helps you really to realize these changes you're supposed to implement. And it's really connecting in the end people, processes, and the tools to be successful. And if you look at the classical scope that we always had in ALM about implementation and run, this is definitely something we keep on, but we need to extend that scope, and this is what we are actually doing with Cloud ALM. So we are doing a clear shift left in our process and getting earlier engaged. It's already about being part of the scoping to really understand what you're supposed to do. No matter if it's about the transformation scoping, which we are delivering with the digital discovery assessment, where we really understand what's the scope of your transformation, which processes are included, what do you want to achieve. It's also with the readiness check that we deliver already since a couple of years, that really tells you what's the must-do in your transformation, what you really have to change in order to go to S4 or into the private cloud. It's also about best practices. I mean, the Signavio Process Navigator is actually built on Cloud ALM. This is part of our platform. You can get all the best practice models in place that helps you to really identify the process scope of your transformation. And we are also looking into the landscape. So we have the landscape design and evaluation tool on our platform that helps you to identify all the applications that have you in the landscape, the dependencies in between, which is also then later on a great input via our integration to LeanIX to help you really model and manage your enterprise architecture. Then, of course, we still continue to invest and focus into the build space. So we have the project and task management, which is very mature, where we work a lot with the different methodologies, where you can include the RISE with SAP methodology, where you get all the activities that you need to execute in such a project, and where we also have the quality gates included that give you a certain checklist after each phase of the transformations to really identify, are you on the right track? Is there something going off? Are you really then achieving the goals that you set in the beginning? Of course, Cloud ALM is still about test management. We have our own capabilities in test management. We have a successful partner here also with Tricentis that is also a lot, not only in the test automation, but also in the overall quality assurance space of such a transformation. And then I think one of the most asked for capabilities is still a change in deployment management. And we will go into that also later in the keynote to give you their current status. Cloud ALM still also is in the process management area, where we then also actively collaborate and integrate with Signavio, and also, of course, the classical solution management. So I think in the build space, we have a very broad portfolio that's helping you in the implementation projects that you have. What else do we add? We also have the migration space. I think this is also something very crucial, that's something you really need to do on a very technical level. It's about the data migration piece. So we have the Business Transformation Center on our Cloud ALM platform that helps you to do different kinds of data migrations. Either it's selective data migration, it's for new implementation, it's for the classical conversion, and it's already starting in the beginning when we talk about data quality, identifying maybe some data issues, helping you to resolve them, but also later on after the migration to really validate the migrations that you've done. Also custom code. It's about adapting the custom code to make it executable on an S/4HANA system. It's about bringing custom core closer to the clean core by the different standards that we have applied there. And finally, it's also about the rollout management, where we are supposed then also in combination with the solution management, of course, to help you to roll out the templates to be a successful rollout project here. And then last but not least, of course, Cloud ALM is also about still the operation side of your systems. So we have multiple capabilities in here about the integration monitoring between the different systems, health monitoring of certain systems, the business process monitoring, which helps you to identify if the processes are running or if they have an issue. It's also in the back end, the job and automation monitoring, and it's the real and the synthetic user monitoring that's also quite helpful. So I think this is also the space, and we will also come to that later, where AI plays a crucial role. What is also part of the run pillar is the RISE with SAP dashboard that really helps you to monitor your RISE systems in order of, is it compliant to clean core, what's your progress on that. And I think this is a very broad portfolio of capabilities, and it's really end-to-end, starting before the transformation starts in the scoping, helping you to implement, helping you to migrate, and then finally also helping you to operate the system. So this is our transformation execution platform as Cloud ALM. But this is just capabilities. What's also, of course, important, and what is then the differentiator in the end, is the content that we provide. It's not enough to provide you just an empty system where you have a lot of capabilities. This is also what I meant earlier. We need to help you get there better. And this is where we need to have our solutions, our capabilities also to be pre-filled and pre-configured as much as we can. And that is why also the scoping is so very important. If we know and understand your transformation scoping, we can already pre-fill your project and task management by the right methodology, with the right activities that you need to achieve that goal. If we know about your application scope, we can already help you to set up then later on the integration monitoring. And this is very fundamental to us, that we are not just providing you an empty system, we want to provide you the right content to be faster and more agile in that space. And Cloud ALM is also the central distribution layer of content for SAP in parts of the integrated toolchain. So no matter if it's about the best practice models that get distributed, integration content, automation content, this is all distributed via Cloud ALM into the integrated toolchain. So this is also a very fundamental layer for us that goes across all the phases that you can see here on this slide. What's also important is, of course, still the service layer. What's part of execution? The delivery. And Cloud ALM is really the delivery engine for SAP, how we deliver SAP services to our customers. So you can use Cloud ALM then as a collaboration platform. You can share the deliverables, the action items, the results. This is also giving you a lot of transparency about how the SAP services are delivered and what you can take out of it. And again, last but not least, the final layer is partners. So also Josh mentioned how important the ecosystem is to be successful, and this is also something that is in the identity of Cloud ALM since the very beginning. I mean, we have always started with APIs. So API first was a strategy and will continue to be a strategy on the technology side. So whatever we develop on a functionality basis, we will also provide the needed APIs in order to be then extendable in that scope for our partners. And also on the delivery side, we have more than 100 partners now that are certified in using Cloud ALM in their transformation projects. And so overall, I think this is a huge, huge offering that we have also towards our partners. And also just a short heads up, we will also now in the keynote in a couple of minutes explain that in a little bit more detail. So this overall is the transformation execution platform as we are delivering it for Cloud ALM, and as you hopefully then also will use it later on in your projects. But it's not only about the scope, it's always also about the quality that is going to be delivered. And I think with Cloud ALM, we have a product that is really cloud native and is delivering state of the art. So in all of 2024, we had 0 minutes of downtime. And I think this is a clear indicator that we develop in quality. And also, inside of all SAP, we actually have the lowest ticket per customer rate of all our products. I think this also is a testimonial about what we deliver and that it's really in quality. And you might now say, yeah, Cloud ALM is maybe not used that often, maybe that's the reason, but that's definitely not true. So if you've been at the ALM Summit last year, I think we've been talking about maybe 5,000 or 6,000 customers that have Cloud ALM. We have doubled that in the last year, in the last 12 months. So we have now really 12,000 customers that have a tenant provided by Cloud ALM. And actually, we see 80,000 unique end users every day on our platform. I think this is a huge usage, and you see it also in the content that they actually create. So alone in that year, so since January until now, we see more than 20,000 implementation projects that have been created and executed. We see on the operations side, more than 200 million alerts that are created per month. So it's a heavily used platform, and it's really great to see those adoption numbers. And I'm very much looking forward, and also to you, if you are still on Solution Manager, to move you finally into Cloud ALM. But that's really, we have the capabilities, we have the capabilities, the quality, and I think we see also the needed adoption to be successful in that space. And that's also shown by the different kind of customers that we already have here. So you can see here on that slide some reference customers that are happy customers of Cloud ALM. And as already mentioned also by Ben, I'm also very much looking forward to our keynote on Thursday, where we will have then 4 different customers here on stage that will talk about how they use Cloud ALM in the different spaces. So we cannot have a keynote, of course, without talking about AI. And it's not like that in Cloud ALM we are trying to implement AI just for the sake of it, just because it's a marketing hype. But it's really true that it has fundamentally changed how we develop software and the capabilities that we are actually able to deliver. And I think what for me is very crucial is the difference on how we think about AI and how we develop it. It all starts with the AI to the power of 4. This is our key principle in how we think about AI and how we implement it. So it all starts with artificial intelligence. So that's the basis, that's the model, that's the data that is important to really have the model for the business process you actually try to automate. In the next level, it's all about the application integration. It's about building AI use cases that naturally blend in your existing business process and not something that is standalone, that is somewhere off. Then it's all about the adoption initiatives. How can we actually drive new behaviors? How can we really make the end users, how can we get them the right user experience in order to change how they use the system? And finally, it's all about the actionable insights. It's about learning and understanding how we are using AI to continuously train the models to make them more efficient and more beneficial. So this is really the principle of AI to the power of 4 that we put below all of our AI capabilities. What does that mean in more detail? And now let's have a quick move to Cloud ALM for operations, where I think AI is very fundamental and where we are also most mature in the meantime. So for Cloud ALM here, we see 3 different steps how we use AI. It's all about the detection. We are using AI to detect issues faster in a more reliant way than any manual user can do. We have already several use cases live here, change point detection, automatic thresholding. I think this is where AI really comes from a data side and helps you detecting issues faster. But just identifying that there's an issue is not very helpful. Of course, you want to understand the root cause, why there was an issue at all. So we are investing a lot in AI also in the analysis piece. And this is now where our strength comes into play of our own data lake. So we have an own data lake with all the service and support data that is available inside of SAP. So we know about the tickets, the knowledge, all this documentation available from more than 30,000 customers out there. We have all brought that into our AI data lake that we use for that purpose. So once we have detected an issue, we help you with the proper root cause analysis by using that data richness we have in the data lake to really help you to analyze the root cause where this problem was coming from. And then in the end, of course, it's also about the resolution. Just knowing there is a problem and why it's coming is also not sufficient. We need to help you to resolve that. And actually in the resolution, we see 2 steps. As a first step, it's good to give you a step-by-step guidance on how to resolve it. But finally, this is where the agents need to come into play. We need to have the agents that help you to resolve that automatically. And that overall is the vision of Cloud ALM in operations of autonomous ALM. Reducing redundant manual efforts that produce some issues into really an autonomous solution that helps you really to do that in the back end without any interaction of you. But now I talked a lot and it's a lot of theory, so let's welcome on stage Rashmi, who's giving you a demo on how this AI piece is looking like.
Okay, good morning. So ready to see a demo? Yes? Yes. Okay, so how many of you use SAP Cloud ALM? Yes, and how many of you use it for operations? Okay, yes, nice. So let us take, for example, now we heard from Soren about autonomous ALM, right? And we heard 3 main pieces of it. One side we have detect, analyze, and resolve. How do we put these 3 things together? So in the traditional monitoring, what you see is a problem is existing, and there are some users who are impacted by that problem, and only after that you see there is some information that this problem is occurring, right? By the time you know there is a problem, there is already an impact. So let's see how we resolve or we come out of that and then work the way when a problem is already happening. So for the demo's sake, I've taken an organization that is Cloud ALM company, and it is a multinational corporation, and it is using hire-to-retire business process. And as you know, with hire-to-retire process, you have SuccessFactors, you have S/4HANA, and then you have MDI. So the data is flowing through MDI from SuccessFactors to S/4HANA, and there could be multiple hops for this data, and there are plenty of room for things to go wrong. So let's start with the demo. So first, what we have is this, you see this place, right? As the system, there is a dashboard, and you are seeing a lot of insights here. And what I'm seeing here is there is some anomaly happening in the work agreement, and there is some mismatch between the person and the company code. So this is not yet an alert. It is only an anomaly which is getting detected. And I want to know more about this. So once the problem is earlier detected, we need to go into more detailed analysis. And here I use the AI-assisted resolution, and I ask the system to give me more details about this. So the system is telling me that this is happening. It's giving me a summary that there is such and such problem. But along with that, it is also telling me that there is something the system is also detecting in the business process monitoring and the integration monitoring. There are several employees' records which are failing, and there are several integration flows which are failing. And it gives me more context and detail and more symptoms which are already visible in the system. And then I see that it's this process flow is red. So now I want to see what is the root cause for this problem. So I go in depth and ask the system to give me a root cause. So here we are using Joule. This is a conversational assistant, the one digital assistant from SAP, right? So it tells me the reason for the error is a mapping issue. And when the worker code has to be mapped, it has to have a correct country code. And the country code mapping is incorrect here. So I want to ask the AI to give me a resolution as well. And AI is suggesting a resolution here, and it tells me that there are two paths to fixing this issue. It tells me that the mapping needs to be corrected, and after the mapping is corrected and it has to be implemented in the system, the failed messages have to be re-triggered so the process flow is correct again. So now I try to take the help of AI to resolve this problem. So I did the analysis, I did the, now what I have to do is to take the help of AI to resolve the problem. It tells me that whether I want to do it manually or I want to proceed already with the AI. So I take the easier route out, and then I say proceed with step 1. And it tells me in step 1, this code has to be implemented. This mapping file has to be changed, and generates the code snippet for me. Now, again, the control comes back to me, the user, because the human oversight is paramount here. So I get this option to implement it automatically or implement it manually. So I take the automatic route, and then I implement the code. And after that, the failed messages have to be re-triggered. It has to be sent again. And this again, I take support of the AI and does it. And now what happens is the flow is correct, and we see that in our trend graph that we saw earlier, it comes from red to blue. So the issue is resolved. So this is one example that I want to show. And the second one, so this is our vision, and this is how far we have gotten ahead with the vision, right? So I'm going to monitor, the monitoring use case and health monitoring. And with health monitoring, I'm going to look at the custom BTP applications, which are made in Node.js, and it is hosted in Cloud Foundry, and it is running, and then I'm seeing that if there is anything going wrong here. And I see there are 2 alerts, and there is a process memory alert here. So now, whenever there is an alert, what we do usually is we go into the alert, and we look at the details, and we scan through all this information here. We click through and get the details and try to do a manual analysis. And with the process of introducing the AI, it's even easier that I can just invoke Joule here, and it does the analysis for me, and it gives me a concise summary of what this alert is. It tells that there are several applications in this Cloud Foundry, and they are using more memory than it is allocated to them, and this is the reason of the alert. Now I need to what can I do, right? I need to resolve this as well. So I asked AI what to do. How can you help me with the resolution? So it even goes into all the support knowledge that we have, right? We have help portal documents, we have KBAs, we have notes. A lot of material is already available in the SAP side because we have seen many of these problems at one time or the other. So that whole wisdom is taken. And then with that, it proposes that you need to do certain of these steps. And it tells me that you need to first start with analysis. You need to open your BTP and then do this analysis. And then it tells you that you need to change the memory allocation, et cetera, and to give you the sources from where it is bringing up the data, right? It also gives you the link if you want to choose and open the help link, which is from where this information is coming from. That's also given to you. And now that I know these are the resolution steps which are there, I need to go ahead. So I'm asking the system. Now now comes the part of agents. You would have heard about AI agents, right? So I'm invoking an agent in attempt to resolve this. And I'm asking the agent, what are the ways, what are my next steps, right? I need to solve this. And the agent is kicking in. And then it looks at, so as you know, agent is like thinking, and it brings up and tells me that, look at the summary of this application. This particular application, currently it is running. And the current status in the Cloud Foundry is this. All this without leaving the comfort of your own screen, right? You are in Cloud ALM, and you are able to do everything from Cloud ALM itself without having multiple tabs open. So you see the status here. And then you see the memory allocation and the used quota and all the values which are available. And it is also giving me a recommendation. And it's giving me like a person, right? So it's telling me that there are 2 options in front of you. And there are different things that's telling me along with the options. I just go back and show you. It's telling me, first is to scale the application, and it's telling me the pros and cons of that approach, and what is the impact. And secondly, with restarting the application also, it's telling me what has to be done, and what are the pros and cons, and what is the potential impact. And it is telling me, or asking me, how should I proceed? Like, I can even give it like a, normal conversational mode that scale up the memory by so-and-so, or I could even say just proceed with option 1, any of those things. So I am asking it to scale up the memory, because scaling up the memory will resolve or will hold off this problem for some more time. So I'm going to do that. So it's going to prepare a plan for me, and it's coming with a plan which will tell me these are the steps which is included in the resolution, and it will, yeah, so it's telling me that this is the current status of the application, and the plan changes. Currently, the memory is 128 MB, and the proposal is to change it to 256, and it's telling this is the sequence of the actions that it needs to take, and it's also telling that the potential impact that there'll be a short downtime of this application, and it gives me an opportunity to approve or deny this change. So I can go so far, and if I don't want to do it automatically, I can even do it manually by knowing that, okay, this is exactly what I have to do. But I can also do it the agent way and ask agent, and I give the approval from my side. So the agent takes approval, and then it really does the change. It scales up the memory, and it brings back the result for me. And yeah, you see how it is working, right? All the thinking steps and everything is coming up in the screen. Yeah, and yes, it's telling that the application is now starting, because it's changed the memory allocation, and it is restarting. And you see from 128, it has changed to 256. Yeah, and in the BTP as well, we would see that the memory allocation is changed. So that's what I wanted to share with you. Thank you, Soren.
Thank you, Rashi. Good. So I think it was great to see how we are really utilizing AI, especially on the operations side, and what also on benefits it will give to you, and how it can really reduce efforts that you currently have today on a manual basis. And what I like most actually is about the demo that it's not just a vision. We talk here about a 3 to 5 year roadmap. Many of those use cases we already have live now. Many others are still on the roadmap for that year, and only some of them are actually part of the 2026 roadmap. So this is close to reality, and we're really close to get there. And we also have started a beta program for those AI capabilities. Many seats are already taken. We have a few left, so if you are interested in becoming part of this beta program, you can visit also Reshmi and the rest of the team outside at the booth and ask to being included. So for some, we still have some left open. You can also see it here on that roadmap slide here. It's not only about the operation side where we're using AI, it's also on the implementation side, for example, with the requirements generation that we have. So you can take, for example, a Teams transcript from your Fit to Standard workshop, upload it into Cloud ALM, and AI will automatically then create the requirements in your system. Or we are also working on the generation of test cases based on AI. So AI is everywhere. That's also why we are not having a dedicated AI track in this event. AI is really naturally part of all the different tracks that we have, and you will learn a lot more in the different expert sessions. So earlier, I talked about that I will come back to the partner space, and I will come back to the CDM part, and the time is now. So when we talk about the partners, there's always the ask, like, what is Cloud ALM doing? What is going out to the partners? And I really want to make that fully clear. So when Cloud ALM was started 5 years ago, it was dedicated to public cloud only. And this is still our home turf. This is definitely also where we deliver all the capabilities that are needed for all of our customers that are in the public cloud. So this is clear that Cloud ALM will fully focus on that. But of course, in these 5 years, we have realized already quite early that the reality is somehow different, and it's a journey actually to the public cloud. Many of you are still in a hybrid scenario, either if it's on-premise or private cloud, or even both, and maybe some parts are already in the public cloud. So it's totally clear also that with Cloud ALM, we will definitely also deliver all the main capabilities that are needed to execute those projects in a hybrid world. But of course, we have also our dear partners where we have then some scope on top to really extend what we already have today. And again, this is a lot of theory. I want to welcome now on stage Valeria, who's giving you an overview about how we live that in the change and deployment management.
Good morning, everyone. Today I have actually a very challenging task because the people who know me know I enjoy talking, and I especially enjoy talking about change and deployment management, but I have to stay on time today, so yeah, hopefully I won't get into trouble. But first thing first, let me tell you all about change and deployment management and why do we need it. Now, imagine you want to move houses. I mean, this is most probably something that we all have to do at some point of time, and maybe you have a lot of stuff, maybe you have a lot of shoes, as I do, and you have to be prepared. So what do you need? Obviously, first, you need some boxes to put your stuff in. Maybe you need an item list just to plan and ensure that you don't forget anything. You need some labels. Of course, you need a track, and you have also to ensure that all the things are packed in the boxes and also can be transported safely to your new home. And basically, this is what we do in change and deployment management. We manage or we transport changes across different landscapes. We manage deployment for S/4HANA private cloud, S/4HANA public cloud, services and application on the business technology platform, and also for on-premise landscapes. We make deployments fast by automating them, and we also make them secure by including and executing transport checks. On the change management side, we offer workflows to guide you through the change management process. We offer authorizations to give you more strict governance and control. We have approvals, of course, very important just to ensure that only successfully tested and authorized changes are reaching your production environment. And last but not least, we also offer very comprehensive dashboards to ensure traceability and governance over your change management process. As part of our change and deployment management strategy, we are building a very strong core. We want to be the central orchestrator for the business suite. We ensure efficiency, quality. We safeguard your production environment. We bring all deployment mechanisms together. We want to implement automated pipelines and follow the DevOps principles. And also, we want to manage deployment dependency, which is most probably one of the biggest challenges when talking about and managing hybrid landscapes. But we don't stop here. We are extending our core and our foundation by advanced capabilities just to get you ready for the transition from the on-premise world to the cloud. So what are those advanced capabilities, just to name a few of them? Retrofit, the synchronization of a dual landscape, more flexible status schema, just to give you the opportunity to include your own steps in the standard workflow, status-dependent checks for more governance in the change management process, automations, automating transport activities, support for critical objects, those are high-risk objects, also including a process for standard changes, which are low-risk changes, and also, last but not least, also a anticipated functionality, custom and mandatory fields. So as you can see, we are preparing for the transition, and we also want to enable all of the solution manager customers to be able to smoothly transition from change request management to change and deployment management in Cloud ALM. And for the very few special use cases, we provide a comprehensive API framework for partners to be able to integrate and complement SAP Cloud ALM with their own solutions. Now let's have a look what we have on the roadmap. 2026 will be a very exciting year for us. Actually, 2025 was already and is already an amazing year for us. We delivered a lot of new functionalities around the deployment scheduler, transport checks, workflow integration, APIs. We worked on authorization rows, and until end of the year, we are also planning to deliver retrofit support for automatic and manual use cases. We also want to introduce a fixed process to be able to handle maintenance changes. Moving on to 2026, in the first half of the year, our main focus would be to further extend our deployment capabilities, and we are also concentrating on constraints, checks, and automated workflows. We want to be able to trigger deployments for S/4HANA Public Cloud. We want to extend our Cloud TMS functionality in terms of the deployment scheduler and having the ability to assign modifiable transports. We are working on authorizations and consistency checks and automations. Custom check framework is also something that we want to invest in so that you have the possibility as a customer or partner to integrate your custom checks into our framework. We are also going to introduce a flexible status schema to support a 4-tier landscape. This is also one of the most anticipated functionalities. And we also want to further integrate with process management by providing capabilities to include libraries and process relations in change and deployment management process. Going further into 2026 and the second half of the year, we want to introduce more control on the release by introducing phases for further governance of the change and deployment management process. We are going to work on critical objects and standard changes, and we also want to enable custom fields. So as you can see, we have a lot which you can look forward to for this year and next year. And this is going to be an exciting year, not only for you as a customer or for us as SAP, but also for you as a partner. And I'm thrilled to have a special guest with me today, Chris Drake from RevTrack, who is going to tell us how RevTrack integrates and complements SAP Cloud ALM with global template protection capabilities. Please welcome on stage, Chris Drake.
Thanks, Valeria. Appreciate it. Cheers. Hello, can I be heard? Awesome. So, yes, my name is Chris Drake. I work for RevTrack, is what we're known as. It is a change management solution, been in the market for about 28 years. The last couple of decades has been challenging, of course, because solution managers' charm was really setting the benchmark there. The interesting thing, and actually Josh mentioned it, is about meeting customers where they're at. Everybody's at a different stage in the journey. That's what makes this important, to be able to collaborate. And the reason we did reach out to the Cloud ALM team and sort of said, is there a chance to do something together? We've got a very mature solution. It doesn't have an EOL. It can be moved. It doesn't need to sit inside a solution manager. Perhaps there's some things that are going to help to meet customers where they're at in their particular journey. So we've collaborated on a few ideas, but we chose on this one, which is the nasty one, because it's just doing a lot. There's a huge amount of complexity in these environments, and we're able to simplify it. This is the global template protection. Some people may be familiar with this, but basically the two systems in red, they're producing a template that goes out like a software package to all of the regions, and then they're deployed into the region for consumption and delivery across that individual region's track. Okay. They often do this for sovereign reasons because there's just too many specific things that are unique to an environment in certain places. The global template, however, can give some consistency across these environments. Doing this with RevTrack, Cloud ALM is then able to get all of the traceability, and this is key. All those dashboards, everything that allows for that tight control and orchestration up at Cloud ALM is now available through the integration and the traceability that RevTrack affords. Effectively, the way that we have set this up, and we do have a demo that we're happy to share at the booth. We were going to do it live, but we decided not. It is quite a filled demo, I'll say. But please do come by if you want to see this. But effectively, we would set this up with 7 projects in Cloud ALM. There'd be one for the global template. There'd be one for each region, being a global distribution for the template. And then each region would, of course, have their own local ability to move change across the landscape. And the reason this works is really because RevTrack is flexible in nature. We can put whatever statuses are required, and the statuses can trigger any type of deployment required. At the top, what we're seeing is a Cloud ALM feature, and that is running and signaling to the RevTrack, please go and get some work done. People are submitting their objects into the RevTrack request, and then we're putting a lot of shift-left activity to compare what's going on in the global environment with what's going on in the regional environment. So cross-system object locking, suitability checks, making sure that there aren't going to be conflicts, even on a different track. And then, of course, you can see what we're doing towards the end there is we're triggering the regional deployment. So instead of a production approval, we're actually having a regional deployment to send changes into multiple tracks there. Okay. This is a very complicated one. We're happy to have collaborated with the team. Of course, those APIs and the ability to work in an ecosystem rather than trying to have to adapt to one tool, that made this possible. So thank you to the Cloud ALM team for that, and thank you for your time. Oh, sorry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SAP ALM Summit 2025. I'm sorry I couldn't be with you in person, but I didn't want to miss this opportunity to talk to you, because ALM is such an important topic for all of us. Over the last 6 years, the ALM Summit has become a key event on the SAP calendar. It's a chance to bring together IT professionals and industry leaders to discuss solutions and foster new connections. This year, we are focusing on our integrated toolchain, powered by SAP LeanIX, Signavio, WalkMe, and of course, SAP Cloud ALM. Together with partner solutions like Tricentis, these innovations form a powerful engine to drive your business. At the heart of the offering is the toolchain's integration execution platform, SAP Cloud ALM. This important topic results in accelerating time to value, optimizing operations, and helping you to drive real business transformation with a focus on business process standardization and, as a result, a clean core to make ERP upgrades a thing of the past. And we will significantly increase the value of the toolchain by infusing AI in all of our tools. Over the next few days, you will be able to hear more about this, share best practices, and discover how SAP Cloud ALM can revolutionize your application lifecycle management. It's a great opportunity to boost your ALM value. So, have a great summit and see you soon.
So, definitely good also to see that we definitely also have the attention of our board, and I think everyone who knows Christian, has ever talked to him, knows how passionate he is about that topic and how much he's really also pushing this integrated tool chain and the Rise with SAP methodology. And that actually will also now form the last part of this keynote, where we talk about the different parts of it. I mean, Christian talked about it, Signavio for process management analysis, LeanIX for this enterprise architecture management, WalkMe then finally driving the adoptions, and then Cloud ALM as the execution platform beneath. And Christian also talked about what are the different value drivers that we see. What's the value proposition behind if you use the tool chain? It's about reducing the transformation costs. It's about optimizing the operation. It's accelerating the time to value. And those are strong claims that are out there. And I think we're really working heavily on these topics to really realize them. And on the next slide, I also want to go a little bit more deeper on how we as Cloud ALM actually work towards that, especially also then again with AI. So we have analyzed with our customers, with our partners, what are the most complexity and efficiency drivers in such of a transformation. And overall, we came out that it's mainly coming down in the end to 4 crucial items. And what we're doing against that is, on Cloud ALM, we are developing with AI the so-called transition guidance, where we are analyzing your current system state, where we are identifying what's your transformation scope overall, and where we're giving you then really a step-by-step guidance on what is the right way to do this transformation, what is the right way to implement. So AI is here really fundamental to us. The second cost and efficiency driver is in the data management piece. I also mentioned it already in the beginning about oftentimes we have a lot of incorrect data that is stopping us from migrating data. And again here on Cloud ALM with the Business Transformation Center, we are really heavily investing. Not only in the data migration itself, I think we are already very much automated in that space, but we are investing into AI, really into this data quality and preparation phase, identifying certain patterns, how we can resolve them, give some guidance on how to resolving them, and then later on, after a successful migration, really validating, also together with your auditors, that the migration was correct. The third item is about custom code management. I mean, you all know it from the past in ALM, custom code lifecycle management, all the pieces that we have in there. And I think there are 2 fundamental pieces where we are investing. It's about the automatic adaptions of custom code to make them executable on S4. But it's also about making it clean core compliance, understanding then also with the RISE dashboard in order how close is the coding to the clean core and how can you make the necessary adaptations to standardize it more. And the last pillar where we are also investing in with Cloud ALM is the test management and execution piece. So using AI in creating different test cases automatically, and finally then also in the test automation. And this is then also where Tricentis again comes into the play. And if you look at that slide, I think that's probably you all have some issues in those spaces. You all have a lot of efforts in that sense. And this is really where we are investing with Cloud ALM very heavily to really become this transformation execution platform with AI. And it's also great to see that it's also in the toolchain space. We have a lot of reference customers out there that really make use of the benefits of not only using this individual solution standalone, but really in the overarching use cases. So now we talked a lot about customers. We saw a lot of customer logos on the slides. We have now invited Ole from Deloitte, who is going to talk about how they use Cloud ALM and the integrated toolchain in their transformation projects.
Thank you, Søren. Sorry, I'm coming just from the customer, and we are busy. So that's why I'm here today and telling you a story about some of our customers from the regulated environment. We've seen a lot of tools right now. We have seen a lot of things that SAP is planning, has realized, and I must admit, what happened the last year in Cloud ALM really was a game changer out in the projects. Because 1 year back, the customers were a little bit reluctant. The adoption of Cloud ALM in big projects was very low. And even in Deloitte, it was very low, the adoption, because, oh, let's see how it works in really global projects. 25 was the year where everything changed. Now, even customers in the regulated environments has adapted and are adapting Cloud ALM, even if they have had a lot of other tools earlier in the portfolio. So why? The reason is that now the integrated tool chain is out there, and it is integrated. Earlier, there were a lot of islands. We have some Jira for project management. We have had some ALM for testing. We have some here and there, a lot of islands. And everything, it works very well. But remember, back in '72, 5 guys in Waldorf made one system where everything was integrated to run our ERP system. And the same happened here now. 5 years of hard work finally gives a benefit and gives a value to the projects. And this integrated tool chain was the reason why 2 of our regulated customers choose Cloud ALM, and they choose it as, or the integrated tool chain as the tool chain for the full greenfield transformation project. One of the customers were a merge of 2 different companies with 2 different tool chains, 2 different cultures. By using the integrated tool chain with Cloud ALM in the middle, they really put in a common view on how things worked. And as Søren said, it is all about content. So if there's the real content in the integrated tool chain that is accessible, then you have full traceability. And also, if the content is in one place, you also has the foundation, what Søren also mentioned, for all AI. If the content is spread around in a lot of tools, then you have a lot of integrations you have to do before you can use this for your AI-generated user stories or requirements or stuff like that. So that's why the customer choose to have this tool chain. And also what very often is missed is what we have in the at the left-hand part, the fully integration to the transport management. If you have project management, everything is in control, you can see a lot of stuff, but what happened below, if there's no integration, then it's very difficult to really trace where we are technically. We can follow it, what we think we are, but the realize already we have seen in earlier solutions also, when we have a full traceability, it differs. So we are starting here with the processes and the process management and modeling in Signavio. And here we come from with additional content. Sometimes even the best practices don't cover everything. So we from Deloitte have in our Deloitte Ascent toolbox and framework, we provide processes that are not in the SAP standard as a standard way as an accelerator for all this processing. Then it's orchestrated, modeled in Signavio, synchronized to Cloud ALM. And in Cloud ALM, we take care of also the people. Because 200 consultants and project members need to be orchestrated. And that is what we think we were missing a little bit in the presentation earlier, the orchestration of all you that are doing the implementation work. Do we see where we are, that we can follow it step by step? That is what we also can do now in Cloud ALM with the project management part. We handle then the process management, the project management. We create the requirements based in our workshops. And also that creates content that we store in Cloud ALM. Further then, when we are going into the testing, also here we have a lot of stuff that needs to be orchestrated. We handle that with Cloud ALM, and then we are using automated testing with Trust Centers. You can also see on the upper right-hand corner, Azure DevOps. A lot of customers have other tools and think they have other projects, other things that are non-SAP. And sometimes they need to talk to each other. So these systems and these people that work outside the SAP project with other things, We are integrating them to Azure DevOps so we can create tasks in DevOps so that they can follow and execute this task in Azure DevOps. And we get the information back so that we still have the full traceability, full reporting inside Cloud ALM. And you can also see that we also deployed Ascend and below, because there are also some of the content that we can supply from user stories and other things that into that. So this also is an accelerator when creating user stories based on processes that has been outside Signavio earlier. So all in all, this full integrated tool chain supports the project very well. So this is one of the examples. We have that in right now at 2 projects at the same time working with this tool chain. And there was the motivation from the customer that it was an integrated tool chain, fully integrated, and also that is future-proof. Because what we have seen that it has come in the last 12 months, delivered for SAP a functionality in Cloud ALM and integrated tool chain, was persuading that this was the right choice. And what Valeria has shown here, what comes in 26, is exactly what we need for the next steps in the project. We are running very close. SAP is delivering with Cloud ALM just in time so that we can utilize it in these projects. And this partnership has gone for the last 4 years, so we work close together. We know what's come. We're giving input back, and then also that's way. So that was a short run through for a regulated environment projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ola. So I think that was also good to see that a partner like Deloitte that is running really hundreds of projects each year, they can actually use that tool chain with Cloud ALM in the center, especially with customers within the regulated industries. And I mean, oftentimes we have really hard requirements from their side. So I think if we can run it there, we can probably run it also in all the other environments. So now this keynote has come to an end. I hope we could really give you some view about what Cloud ALM is all about, how it's really the key enabler with AI for this autonomous ALM, how Cloud ALM is really the transformation execution platform, helping you in all of the phases within your transformation, and also providing you some information and some proof that it's really ready for mass adoption. Having said that, once again, welcome to Darmstadt, welcome to the ALM Summit 2025. Use the upcoming 3 days outside at the booths, in the expert sessions. Talk to our experts. They have a pink scarf. You can't miss them. Use the 3 days really also for networking. Thanks for being here and looking forward to engaging with you further. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So yeah, thank you very much to Søren, and thanks to all the experts here on stage.
Before we kick off the first round of expert sessions and dismiss you to the other offerings, a few more things. So please use the event app to find the right session for you. And people who are wearing the scarf, like Søren just mentioned, are here to help you with directions as well.
And also, of course, there are many SAP experts around, and they are wearing this purple lanyard. So scarves is more for like directions. Purple lanyard is SAP experts if you want to talk to anyone about Cloud ALM or anything the like.
One more thing for lunchtime. For those of you with special dietary needs, you can find it in the restaurant on the ground floor. Please ask for that.
All right, and you might have seen we are a little over time, but that's not an issue because our team in the back, they just shifted the agenda a little bit. So in front, which means we will start with the expert sessions at 10:30. So now you have time to move to the rooms, go to the sessions you want to enjoy, and then we will start with the expert sessions at 10:30, and the app will be moving accordingly. So thanks for joining. Have a great event, and go to the sessions now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.